What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Wow, today we have a lot to get into and a lot to talk about. Today I am talking contract extensions and free agent signings. So we're talking 8 guys all together: Bryce Harper, Nolan Arenado, Manny Machado, Nola, Luis Severino, Hicks, Mikolas, and Max Kepler. So some of these guys obviously have signed contract extensions, and we have Bryce Harper and Manny Machado who have signed free agent contracts with a new team. So I want to start off with Bryce Harper because, in my opinion, it is the biggest contract signing. It is the biggest news story of the offseason. I guess it's not even offseason anymore. It's spring training now. But it's the contract everyone's talking about right now. So let's get into it. He signed a 13-year, $330 million contract with a full no-trade clause, and he will be making a little bit over $25 million on average a year. He will be 39 years old by the end of this contract, and wow, my thoughts on this contract. I have a lot to say about this contract. It screams Albert Pujols. I am not a fan of this signing, and it's not the money that I have an issue with. It's more so the amount of years that the Phillies gave to Bryce Harper. It's too many years. Why lock this guy up for 13 years? It doesn't make any sense. There is no way that Bryce Harper lives up to this contract. There's no way. Absolutely no way he lives up to this. I don't expect Bryce Harper to produce very much in his final 3 to 5 years. I just don't. I know he's 26 now and not 19, but I don't think Bryce Harper will age well, especially in the National League. I just don't see it. And it's weird because just when we all thought that front offices were finally turning the tide on the players, a deal like this happens. Yeah, this contract is fantastic for Bryce Harper. He's set for life. He's set for the rest of his career. But the Phillies will end up regretting this. It will come back to bite them in the ass, and I know this. This was not a good signing. Look, if they wanted to sign Bryce Harper, by all means, go ahead and sign him. But I wouldn't have signed him for any more than 7 years. But guess what? They pretty much doubled that and signed him to 13 years. On the plus side, yes, the Phillies are now legitimate contenders, and other players will want to sign with the Phillies now. If they weren't sold on signing with the Phillies before, I'm sure a lot of players want to go to the Phillies now. And I've talked about Bryce Harper's brand before in a previous podcast. The name Bryce Harper commands attention. I've said it before and I'll say it again. People want to see Bryce Harper play. People want to cheer for Bryce Harper. People want to boo Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is a very polarizing figure. That's it and that's all. Now, Bryce Harper will have some great years in a Phillies uniform. I don't know how many great years he will have as a Philly, but he will have some great years. He may even win multiple MVPs. And another thing that I didn't really think about until just recently was that Bryce Harper is now saturated in a big market like Philadelphia. No longer is he in Washington, D.C. playing on the Nationals, who didn't necessarily get as much coverage as other teams get. Now, Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, I'm talking about the biggest markets. And Bryce Harper is now on a team where he's in the spotlight He is in the spotlight. I mean, again, there are just a couple of other teams outside of Philadelphia where the spotlight is bigger. Los Angeles and New York. And, arguably Philadelphia has a bigger spotlight than Los Angeles. But, again, in terms of the contract, I'm not a fan of it. But in terms of Bryce Harper's play on the field, there is no doubt in my mind that he will mash. He will mash in Citizens Bank Ballpark. That is a ballpark in which he will have no problems hitting in. You can already tally it, 30 home runs a year in a Phillies uniform. I don't know about his defense. His defense is a little suspect. I don't expect it to get any better. But at the same time, I don't expect his defense to just completely fall off the table and be disastrous. So the Phillies, again, you've made your bid. Now you're going to have to sleep in it. You've signed this guy to a contract that I just don't see working out long term. We will see what happens in the coming years down the line. But this was an iffy contract. And the Phillies gave Bryce Harper everything that he wanted. Security long-term, tons of money, full no-trade clause. The Phillies folded for Bryce Harper. And I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked and blown away that they did. They folded. Bryce Harper got everything he wanted and more. And now we just have to wait and see how he performs. Let's move on to the Nolan Arenado contract extension. He is extended for 8 years and $260 million. So he will be making, on average, $32.5 million a year. He has an opt-out after 2021, so that's after 3 years, and he has a full no-trade clause in his contract. I absolutely love this contract extension. I love it because it's mutually beneficial for both sides, for Nolan Arenado and the Colorado Rockies. And let me tell you what this means, first of all, for the Rockies. The Rockies pretty much cashed in on the 2020 free agent class before it began. By locking up Nolan Arenado, they have the flexibility now to build around rather than start from the bottom and build back up. What this also means for the Colorado Rockies is that they can woo other free agents into coming and playing for their team because they have Nolan Arenado. They can say, hey, yeah, come to Colorado. You'll be batting behind or in front of Nolan Arenado. Yeah, sign me up. No problem. Now, there has been talk about what this means for other third basemen in baseball. And to be perfectly honest, this deal is such an anomaly. It doesn't mean that much. To me, it doesn't relate that much to other third basemen because Nolan Arenado is one of the best players in baseball. Okay, we have Alex Bregman and Chris Bryant and Jose Ramirez and Matt Chapman and Anthony Rendon. But guess what? Only one of those guys will be a free agent soon. And that is Anthony Rendon. After the 2019 season, he will be a free agent. The other guys, Chris Bryant has 3 more years left on his contract, or at least of team control, because he's got 2 more arbitration years. Jose Ramirez, he signed an extremely team-friendly contract, so he's got 5 more years of control. Alex Bregman, he has 4 more years before he's a free agent. Matt Chapman, he has 5 more years before he's a free agent. And even when these guys become free agents, barring consecutive all-star type years, I don't see another contract like this being signed. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, and it might just happen. But how many contracts like Nolan Arenado's can we sit and say, yeah, he earned that. 100% he earned that. I can sit here right now and say Nolan Arenado 100% earned his contract. Not just because of what he's done in the past, but because I expect him to do it in the future as well. That is when a contract becomes credible. When you can look at a contract and say, I have faith that this player will live up to it down the line. So overall, again, I'm a big fan of this extension. I think it was a perfect extension in every way possible. I'm happy that he got a full no trade clause in there because, you know, I don't think you would ever have to worry about a Nolan Arenado slipping up and, you know, his talents just diminishing to where, hey, I want to trade this guy, but damn, I have a no trade clause. He has a no trade clause in his contract. I don't think you'll ever have to worry about Nolan Arenado becoming a guy in which you want to trade. Okay, so I love it. I love the contract. I'm happy for Nolan Arenado. He got what he deserved. Next up, we've got Manny Machado, who recently signed with the San Diego Padres. He signed a 10-year, $300 million contract with an opt-out after 5 years, and he can also reject being traded to 6 different teams. When I first found out about this signing, I didn't know what to make of it because I'm thinking, okay, wait, the Padres signed Manny Machado? But then I started analyzing why they signed him, and you know, a lot of things became clear. First of all, we have to remember that Manny Machado, like Bryce Harper, is only 26 years old. And the Padres must have made a lot of promises to Manny Machado, because I just can't see Manny Machado signing with a team like the Padres without them having a clear direction. And Manny Machado was quoted on saying that he liked the direction that the San Diego Padres are going to go in. I'm thinking the Padres are about to make some blockbuster trades. I'm thinking next offseason they're going all in and they're going to sign at least one, if not more, big-time free agents. The Padres are in a really good position right now. They're in a better position than people think. The Padres literally can trade anyone in their farm system and get a good return back. They've also got more money than a lot of people think, a lot more resources than fans realize. And honestly, though they're rebuilding and though they may be rebuilding for the next few years, at any given moment, they can pull the trigger and say, you know what? We've rebuilt for long enough. Let's go all in. And I think that day is coming sooner rather than later. And I think that's why they signed Manny Machado. The writing's on the wall that the Padres are getting closer and closer to challenging a team like the Dodgers in the NL West. Again, they've got the resources. At any given moment, they can trade for a Corey Kluber. Hell, they can trade for Kluber and Bauer. That's how good their farm system really is. And they've got the prospects coming up. They're not going to trade someone like Fernando Tatis Jr. They're just not. They've got Manny Machado. They've got Eric Hosmer. The Padres are a team that most fans sleep on just because, again, they're like the Oakland A's. They're always in rebuild mode. But like the Oakland A's, they have potential with their prospects, with the prospects that they can trade. That hell, they might run into a year where they're like, okay, wait a second, we're in contention to at least make a wild card appearance. Again, I don't really know what the Padres have up their sleeves, but I do know that they're closing in on finishing their rebuild. So, Manny Machado, again, I honestly believe that the San Diego Padres, the front office, made a lot of promises to him. And if they don't keep him, he'll be out of there in 5 years' time. But I do think this contract signing was a good one, mostly because Manny Machado is young enough to where they've got time to figure out exactly what they're going to do. And to be frank, I like this deal better than the Bryce Harper deal. I talked about it before, how Bryce Harper simply was signed for too many years. And while I would never sign Manny Machado to a 10-year deal personally, I'm also not a GM. I'm also not the head of a front office. I'm not the president of operations. Okay, I'm just a fan. So, all in all, I like this deal a lot better than the Bryce Harper deal. And yeah, in the beginning, the Bryce Harper deal will pay off. But when it starts stretching out to the 7th year, the 8th year, the 10th year, the 11th year, then fans are going to say, enough. With this Manny Machado deal, in the long run, it might really pay off. Because in 10 years, the Padres may be in a position like the Dodgers. Who knows what might happen? But I like the deal. I like the deal. Time will tell if it pays off or not. So now that we've got the big three out of the way, I do want to spend some time talking about the other notable contract extensions, starting off with Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola was extended over 4 years for $45 million with a team option. In his 5th year, if the team exercised that option, he will be making $16 million that year. And by the end of 5 years, he would be 30 years old going into his age 31 season. And boy, oh boy, do I have a lot of issues with this extension. Aaron Nola simply got lowballed. Now, I know that he says he's happy about the deal, but come on. You're making $11 million on average over a 5-year period, and you are one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Aaron Nola is not 20 years old. He's not 21 or 22. In June, he will be 26 years old. And it's not like he had one good season. He's had previous good seasons. Okay, in his rookie year, he was good. I think that was 2015. At 2017 and 2018, he had 2 good years. Okay, so yes, he had a sophomore slump, but his other 3 years have been great. Another thing is, this contract, especially if the Phillies option for his 5th year of control, 2 years, 2 potential free agent years will be taken away from Aaron Nola. Okay? Again, he will be 30 going on 31 by the time he's a free agent. Okay? And I'm not saying that it's too late for him to get paid big bucks when the time comes, but I mean, come on, man. I mean, Philly, you just paid Bryce Harper all that money. You telling me you couldn't throw some more money Aaron Nola's way? Look what he's done for you already. And I'm sure they know that he's going to be an ace for them in the future and in the years to come. So I just don't get this extension. I really don't. If he's happy with this, if he's really happy with this deal, then, hey, I can't complain. Okay, as a fan, I can't complain if the player is happy. Okay, I understand that players, especially young players, want that security and sometimes more than the money. And oftentimes I talk about how a player ages and how I think a player will age. I think Aaron Nola will age very well. He's a sinker baller. He's got a great breaking curveball and a phenomenal changeup, and he controls the ball very well. He's a control pitcher. He's not just a thrower. He's not a flamethrower. Aaron Nola doesn't need 97, 98 miles an hour. He gets by with 91 to 94. And when he really wants to bring the heat, he can get you with a 95 or a 96 mile per hour four-seam fastball. Okay, but Nola, he's a sinker baller. He's going to be a sinker baller until he retires. And in his later years, I kind of see him resembling a Zach Greinke, in which his fastball has diminished a little bit, but I can see Aaron Nola being 36 years old and still being very valuable. So, maybe this deal won't be as bad. Maybe it's not that bad at all. Maybe I'm, making a big deal out of it. But I see Bryce Harper getting paid all that money, and I look at a guy who is, in a lot of ways, more valuable right now in Aaron Nola. I think more teams would take a Aaron Nola versus a Bryce Harper. And I'm not talking about the name, Bryce Harper versus Aaron Nola. I'm talking about the impact that they have on a ball club. Bryce Harper, hey, his potential is still great. And I think Aaron Nola's is great as well. And Aaron Nola had a better 2018 than Bryce Harper. And he very well may have a better 2019 than Bryce Harper. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay? All I'm saying is that I think guys should be paid accordingly. They should be paid accordingly to their value. Aaron Nola is worth more than $11 million a year. Come on, Philly. You can do better than that. But it is what it is, and I understand that. Moving on, we got Luis Severino, who was extended by the Yankees for 4 years and for $40 million. He also has a club option there, just like Aaron Nola. And as a matter of fact, his situation is very, very similar to Aaron Nola's. So I'm not going to repeat a lot of the things that I said about Aaron Nola for Luis Severino. But I do think this is interesting how the 4 years that he was extended for, those 4 years would have been arbitration years. So unlike Aaron Nola, who pretty much would have had 2 free agent years, Luis Severino, they all would have been arbitration years. So he's pretty much getting paid arbitration every single year. And again, I think I've mentioned it with Aaron Nola. I probably didn't, but I can't imagine these young all-star caliber players having to go through the arbitration process year after year. I'm sure it's not fun at all. It's probably stressful for a lot of these players. And, when you sign an extension with a team, it eliminates friction. Look at what Jacob deGrom is going through. Okay. Right now, the Mets and Jacob deGrom, they are not on the same page. Okay. That dude is pissed off right now because he wants to either be traded or he wants to be extended right now. So, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, maybe Aaron Nola, maybe Luis Severino should be paid more. But you know what? At least they don't have to worry about the next 4 or 5 years. Luis Severino's teammate, Aaron Hicks, was also extended. This is a very interesting extension. So Aaron Hicks was extended for 7 years and for $70 million. So right now, he's in his age 29 season, and he's extended all the way through his age 35 season. In my opinion, this was a mutually beneficial extension. It won't be long before Aaron Hicks is on the wrong side of 30. And judging by the way the free agent market is right now, I wouldn't want to be a guy like Aaron Hicks. Look how long it's taking for a guy like Bryce Harper or Manny Machado to get signed. Aaron Hicks, he doesn't want to be sitting, waiting until February or March, or worst case scenario, nobody wants to sign him after he's 30 or 31 years old. What I'm saying is, I don't think at 32 or 33 or 34, Aaron Hicks would be a hot commodity on the free agent market. I may be wrong. He may have a lot of value even at that age. We have yet to see. But security matters. And Aaron Hicks is locked up for 7 years, and I know 100% that he is a happy man, and the cherry on top is that he's playing for the Yankees for 7 years. He's got an opportunity to win multiple World Series in that time. So, I'm happy for Aaron Hicks, and I really like this extension. We've got 2 more extensions to talk about. Miles Mikolas is up first. The St. Louis Cardinals extended Miles Mikolas for 4 years and for $68 million. This is a very, very wild extension, especially considering he had one really good year with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he will be making $17 million on average a year during a 4-year period. I'm thinking Miles Mikolas cashed in big time. And this extension very well may come back to haunt the St. Louis Cardinals. Quite frankly, it's a highly questionable deal. And you know what? Maybe the Cardinals know something we don't. Or maybe they just see Miles Mikolas for what he truly is. A low ERA, ground ball specialist who will age pretty well. But if 2018 turns out to be a fluke, that is a lot of money that will be flushed down the drain. And I do think that Miles Mikolas will be pretty good for the Cardinals for the next 4 years. I can't expect him to have 4 great years or even 4 really good years. Because guess what? We've only seen Miles Mikolas really for 1 full season. It was a good season. But how good can he be after 2018? After a full season? We'll see. And again, I just think the Cardinals see Miles Mikolas for who he really is. Yes, he was throwing 96 miles an hour last year, but that's probably smoke and mirrors. And I think it is because he did not strike out a lot of guys. He got a lot of ground ball outs, and he didn't walk a lot of guys either. So this might be an extension, underrated extension that might help them out. The Cardinals might be looking at Miles Mikolas as, a B+, A- pitcher right now in his career. He might be peaking right now in his career. So, we'll see. And last but not least, we've got Max Kepler. The Minnesota Twins extended him for 5 years and for $35 million. This was obviously an under-the-radar type of deal. A lot of fans don't know about this extension, but I've been a fan of Max Kepler for a while. I know he hasn't had a breakout season yet. He's had a couple of lukewarm seasons, and I do expect him to emerge and reach the potential that the Minnesota Twins thought he had, or in this case, still believe that he has. They believe in him still, or else they would not have offered him this type of deal. They would not have extended him if they did not believe in him still. So I'm expecting some big things from Max Kepler. Last year, his walk rate was really good, looking back on it. And you know what? He's on the precipice of really living up to even half of the potential that he might have. So I don't know. I don't see this deal backfiring in any type of way. I honestly think this deal is going to work out for both Kepler and the Minnesota Twins. I just can't see Max Kepler doing any worse than he already has. And even if he gives the same production that he's given in the past few seasons, it's like, okay, what did we really lose? Okay, we took a chance on a guy. He didn't pan out. Fine. Okay. Maybe we won't do it again. Maybe we will. Whatever. I mean, the potential of Max Kepler is greater than the consequence of him not fulfilling it. So, risk reward, that's what I see with this extension. Yeah, I mean, the risk isn't as great with this extension as other guys on this list. And yeah, he's not as good as the other players on this list, and that is why he's only getting paid $35 million over 5 years. But you know what? Hell, $35 million is still a lot of money. Baseball, in the baseball world, it may not be as big as Nola and Luis Severino, but still a lot of money. So they're trying to get as much as they can with Max Kepler. So we will see if he lives up to this contract or not. In Minnesota, all eyes will be on him right now. So, yeah, that's it. that is all of the extensions and free agent contracts that I wanted to talk about. And wow, I enjoyed doing this podcast episode. I really did. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. This is easily my favorite one so far. I hope you guys dig it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Let me know in the comments, what you thought of the contracts that Bryce Harper and Manny Machado signed, the contract extensions of Aaron Nola and Nolan Arenado and others. I want to hear what you guys think about all of this. So thanks for tuning in, and until next time.